All right. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back, viewers. Theoretically, we are live. Hey, Tim, good to see you. How have you been?
Yeah, all good here, David. It's been a fantastic week here in the UK with lots of sunshine. So long may that continue. It feels like spring is here, finally.
Nice. You're motivating me. We have a lot of nice weather in Florida, but sometimes I just get caught up in the day and just sit here. And so you're motivating me to go out. Viewers, if I seem a little nervous, I just want to let you know what's going on. We're trying something a little different. I usually just stream, we usually just stream directly to YouTube, and I'm trying to use the Restream service to split it from YouTube to LinkedIn. So we should be live on LinkedIn and YouTube. But since it's the first time doing it, I'm not sure if we're live anywhere. I'm not sure if I'm going to see anyone in the chat. Theoretically, I should be able to see both chats. So if anyone's watching, please say hi. But that's what's going on here. But we have three great stories to talk about. The first one is really interesting. I want to get into Google announced companion mode, meeting companion mode. And I like it. First thing I got to start with the negative. What I don't like is the name, because we have a companion in this industry and it's an AI thing. And now I think of AI. I'm like, oh, so Google has a new AI thing because everything's AI. And this isn't. This has nothing to do with any of that. Hey, Theo Economides. Oh, my old friend Theo is seeing us live on YouTube. Good to see you. Good to see you here. Thanks for watching. So let me explain what Google companion mode really is. It's for when you're in the meeting room, and let me because I can't resist showing off my gorgeous meeting room. Imagine you have people sitting around the table. We're having a normal meeting, and they're at a massive disadvantage. We talk about meeting equity to people who are or at home, not just because the camera's nicely framed on us. That's a big part of it. But at this point, you'd have to drag me into a meeting room. I'm so much more effective at home. Not only I have a camera in front of me, I have a mic in front of me, I have a separate screen with the chat, I have all my files, I have my glass of water. It's just so much. I have so much more access to everything I need. Why would I want to be in a meeting room? And one of the big things is I'm out of the loop on chat. People use chat during meetings. And I actually asked someone at Microsoft Teams, I'm not going to say who it was, this is a year ago. I said, how do you solve this problem when you're actually Microsoft yourself using Teams? And they told me that everyone at the table has a laptop open to Microsoft Teams and the audio muted. So they're all in the video meeting, even though they're sitting at the meeting. That makes no sense. It's crazy. So what does make sense is companion mode, which is you're connected to the meeting on your laptop, but not the video, not the audio, just the chat and stuff. Light. Makes perfect sense. It's simple. I don't love the name. But it also shows to me that I kind of write off Google a lot because Google's doing so much other stuff. I really have trouble believing that Zoom and Microsoft can kind of laser focused on the meeting room experience. Google hasn't proven that to me yet, but this shows they get it.
It does, David. Although there's part of me that thinks that Google is playing a bit of catch up here because Microsoft has, they've called it companion mode for some time with Teams. I believe there's others that also have companion modes, which is the ability, as you rightly point out, to engage in chat, but also to do reactions like a thumbs up or a love or, I really love that. That's fantastic. Or thumbs down or what have you.
And share files.
And that's fantastic. Yeah. And share files. I guess my concern is that even in a meeting room, companion device is fine, but most people go into a meeting with a laptop to take notes. Now, maybe meeting transcriptions and AI will mitigate that need for people to take a laptop into the room. But there's still a number of meeting rooms that haven't got that second camera or the third camera or the fourth camera to avoid that bowling alley view. And then also, I know that Microsoft at Enterprise Connect announced the fact that they will have, with a little bit of voice training, the ability for anyone in a conference room to be recognized by their voice print. So they know that Tim's speaking or David's speaking. I'm not sure that I've heard that from Google yet. So there's a lot of dynamics at play here. People take PCs in the room for numerous reasons. It's not really just for chat and for reactions, which of course you can do in companion mode with mobiles, but sometimes it's to take notes. It might be used for ideation, or maybe multiple people want to share their screens multiple times. So it's not just one person presenting, it could be multiple people presenting. So I'm not sure it's going to do away with the need for people to bring in PCs, but it is great for the hybrid worker that might not want to give up their hot desk because it's in a lovely location next to colleagues, and they're worried that someone, if they take all of their stuff out away from their hot desk, someone else is going to jump into their seat. So it's great. It's a bit of a catch-up feature compared to other UC vendors in the marketplace, but I think it's much needed. We need to think about the way in which we handle meetings, and clearly meeting equity. We've been talking about it for years, but it feels like we're getting there.
Well, we're making progress. I see this as a stepping stone. This isn't the end for us. It still needs to get better. By the way, we have our first comment from LinkedIn. David Danto is seeing us live on LinkedIn, so the restream is working.
Nice.
And he says, GDPR, GDPR, GDPR. Theo, Economides on YouTube, says that it sounds like companion mode has the attorneys it works with in mind. They do depositions in a conference room, and they're joined in the same meeting with their laptop to exchange. Yeah, I still think, I don't like the idea of everyone needing a laptop in a meeting room to be part of the meeting that they're there in person for. I think there's some things in life you have to accept. Maybe just meeting equity is, it'll never get there. We can make it better, but maybe we have to accept that it's going to be better to join a meeting. In some cases, every meeting is different, but in a lot of cases, it just will be better to join a meeting remotely because you'll have access to stuff. I mean, the advantage is it's nice to be in the same room with people. If you're wearing good cologne, I want to smell it, right?
Or you might find that you're alone together. You'll be joining in from your office, but in the same building, because you've got active noise cancellation with the headphones that you use. You've got noise block technology. You've got background blur, so you don't see annoying people, colleagues walking behind you. It might just be that we all join from our desktops and not, have that meeting room experience, unless, of course, it's for things like brainstorming and ideation. What we need to think of is the various different reasons why we have a meeting. And if it's just giving information or a product update or a project update, you don't necessarily need to be in the same room. In fact, you don't even need to be using a meeting. You should be recording, sending that as an email. So I think we are, it would help if we thought about meetings differently. What are the types of meeting? Does everyone need to be in a meeting? Is there a voice clip that I can take or a video clip that I can take? Should this be something that we do asynchronously? There's all sorts of things that we need to think of. David's point was a good one about GDPR. I haven't yet found out from Microsoft where your voice data or your voice print is actually stored. And I know that there will be some work councils in Europe that will be a bit concerned that you can identify people by their voice prints. Where is that stored? That there's all sorts of regulatory issues that we need to work through as well. So still a lot of innovation going on in this meeting space. But we still need to work out why we're meeting, how we're meeting, whether or not it should be an email or an asynchronous mode of communication. And I have a feeling once we sort that out, we're going to see leaps forward in productivity.
One quick side point I want to make, because you mentioned it and it caught my attention when you talked about the ability to, for these meeting solutions, another AI thing, to know who the people are in the room. That is such a big deal, and it's such a perfect example of got to give the industry credit because they're doing so many things to make things a lot better. The reason that's important is because of the meeting summaries. Because in the meeting summaries, if I'm you look at the meeting summary and David said this, and Tim said this, and Theo said this, and meeting room 7 said this. And if there's 6 people in meeting room 7, how is the AI supposed to know? It thinks that meeting room 7 is one person, and the meeting room the meeting summaries, which aren't perfect, but people are finding them helpful, become less helpful. And if it knows who is who in meeting room 7, all of a sudden the meeting room summaries get so much more, useful, so much more. I want to say they're useless before, but they're just better. And those kind of things are cool and neat, and they're happening quickly. And I'm just excited by that kind of stuff. But you were kind of right to just throw it in as an aside, because it is an aside. These developments we're making. David has another question. why do we think the MS Speaker ID won't be pulled from the market just as Cisco's was when they had it years ago?
Interesting one.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I could
I'm
address
not
that.
sure I've got a comment. I'll be interested. We'll have to have David on some other time,
We
David,
do need
because
to have David on
I
here.
like to understand that perspective a bit more.
So should we go into our second topic, which is the Avaya acquisition? This is interesting. It seems to me that they're getting a development team as much as a product. It kind of seems like they want to add these features to existing, to the existing Avaya environment, as opposed to we're buying a product and selling it, and whether how much of the existing product actually gets repurposed or redeveloped. It seems to be more about the features in the development team.
Yeah, so I think Avaya announced on May the 8th that they're acquiring Edify. There's a lot of capability within the within the Edify product. A lot of it is AI customer journey orchestration and workflow automation, stuff that can go quite nicely into Avaya's experience platform. It seems like Avaya are trying to offer customers the ultimate flexibility in terms of customer experience. They're focusing pretty much wholeheartedly on customer experience, contact center. That's really their heritage. And whether or not that's in a hybrid mode or in the cloud or with on-premise, they've got a huge amount of on-premise equipment out there, which people aren't giving up. So there's still a lot of maintenance revenue and a lot of opportunities there for partners to be able to capitalize on that. But this is really an interesting area because it adds another string to their bow in terms of more of a ability to customize and orchestrate the customer experience journey with a lot of out-of-the-box integration to things like systems of record, systems of engagement with CRM connectors and things like that. So we're finding there's almost like three different approaches within customer experience. There is this multicast capability, and this is a coin that we termed at Omnia around the joining of unified communications and contact center capabilities on a single platform. Hosted in the cloud. There's this multicast, which is out of the box functionality, very limited ability to potentially customize, but a lot of integration into CRM applications and systems of record. Then you've got the traditional contact center vendors, the Genesises, the NICE, the Verents of this world that do provide more customization capability, more integration capability. And then you've got the next sort of market, which is CPaaS vendors have customer engagement platforms built into that, which is the ultimate in terms of flexibility. Ultimate, in fact, that you can write your own code and write your own apps. So we've got three distinct areas of the whole customer experience or customer engagement market. So we got CPaaS, ultimate customization. You've got multicast, which is more out of the box, and then you've got the pure play vendors in the middle there. So I guess this adds another capability to Avaya, more around customization, more around workflow, perhaps more of an opportunity there for their partners and their advanced services to have more of a systems integration approach to customer engagement. So it does sound like a really good move here, but it just shows that I feel there's more likely to be more consolidation in this market to come. I think this shows that there's limited growth potential for everyone to get a bite out of this apple. So I think there's going to be more areas of consolidation in perhaps the same way that the UC market has been consolidated with Mitel's acquisitions of Unify, and we're seeing a lot more acquisition a lot more consolidation in the UC space, to the point where we're likely to only see 3 or 4 vendors having 80% of the whole market share. And then we'll know it's a really mature market. There's very limited opportunities for growth without trampling on people's toes.
Yeah, it's becoming crowded quickly.
Indeed, yeah.
David Danto, he had to leave. Thanks for stopping by, but he made a point. We should mention that Avaya is now using PEXIP for video interop and calls, and that kind of ties into what I'm thinking is, every time I hear an announcement from Avaya and discussion from the analyst community, it's that they're doing something smart and something right. I've always been a fan of PEXIP. The fact that they're working with PEXIP, for me, that's oh, okay, someone at Avaya understands something. Someone at Avaya understands something. They're working with PEXIP. And this acquisition, it seems like a smart acquisition. And it just seems like I see, Avaya comes on my news feed. They're doing something smart. They're doing something right. They're doing something smart. And then, oh no, put in perspective, something big, bad, terrible happened. And then the next few years, as they're being smart, they're doing it right. And then, oh no. So putting this in perspective of the big story, what does this really mean for Avaya? I mean, is this a company that we should be worried about that has all this bad news and this is kind of too little too late? Or no, this is Avaya. They have a massive user base and they know what they're doing and this is a smart move.
I think it is. I mean, one area where I would question their strategy with Avaya is the fairly recent announcement with their partnership with Zoom and Zoom Phone. Yeah. So I think, Avaya have pretty much realized that the majority of their customers are really focused on customer experience and maybe less so on unified communications. And therefore, they form that partnership with Ring and they form that partnership with Zoom Phone. Now, my concern is once an Avaya customer has that partnership with Ring or that partnership with Zoom Phone, what's to stop them from going full Zoom, including contact center, or full Ring Central with contact center? If a customer wants to move to the cloud, and one thing that we found out through our surveys is that about 60% of customers out there, enterprise customers, want to go to the same vendor for both their unified communications and their contact center solution. Does that mean that Avaya is potentially going to lose 60% of its customer base to a cloud-based vendor that can offer both? Are they just going to concentrate on the 40% that wants to keep it very separate? I don't know. The dynamics are very intriguing. I'd love to understand a little bit more around Avaya's strategy here, because it's certainly, let's say it's multi-pronged strategy. It's not that clear to me at the moment.
And I don't know what, none of us know what the right answer is. And that's a question that we see happen in this industry a lot. That's the same exact question Cisco faced when they opened up Microsoft Teams on their video bars, where they had Ilya at the Cisco event. I mean, and of course Ilya and Microsoft is thinking, yeah, we're going to get in their meeting rooms and they're going to be like, oh, we love Microsoft Teams, we should be using it for everything else. Of course that's what they're going to try to do. But Cisco says, well, it's worth it because we need that functionality. And that's exactly what's happening with Avaya and Zoom. Same thing. Of course Zoom is going to be like, we're poaching all these accounts, we're taking them all.
Yeah, I think what you're pointing out, David, is in order to have the biggest total addressable market, you need to have the broadest number of partnerships, the broadest number of deployment options, whether or not that's premise, hybrid, or in the cloud. So maybe that's the strategy. Let's make as much money as we can from this huge market. And we need to sort of be considerate of what our customers want from us, and we need to listen. Maybe that's the strategy. Be as big and as broad as you possibly can be.
That's a perfect tie into our third topic, which is listening to the customers. This is a little off topic, but I thought it'd be a fun discussion for the show. And it's a related industry to ours, and it's very analogous to a lot of things happening in our industry. It's about companies bundling things and putting things together in ways that customers may not like. This happened in the video game industry, and this is not small business. Video games are billion-dollar franchises like blockbuster movies. And just for the non-video gamers, a quick briefer so you understand the way you get video games these days. It's kind of like services like how you get movies, like Netflix and Paramount Plus and Disney Plus or whatever. But you don't pay. You get a free account and then you buy the games. So if and a lot of times they're tied to the device. If you get a PlayStation, you get a PlayStation Store account for free, and you log in and see all your games and buy your games. Yeah, Xbox One, Xbox Live One, whatever account. And there's a few different ones for PC. The big one is called Steam. Steam is the kind of monopoly. Okay, you know Steam. I have a Steam account.
Only because despite my age, I love VR gaming, and I know that there's a few games out there that have cross platform, so I can play the Quest 3 with someone playing on Steam. Sorry. So yeah.
And that's a big part of it, because these platforms, they have your friends list. So you see, oh, your friends online, you jump into a game with them. There's free games on there. They really try to get you on these platforms. So this game came out recently called Helldivers 2, and it's from a smaller development company that people love, like kind of like an indie company, but they're not an indie. The publisher is Sony, so it's a Sony game, but a smaller development company, and it blew up. It's just a really good. I haven't played it, but it's, I follow on social media the streaming community, and the gaming streamers. They're all playing it. Everyone's talking about it. They love it. They're excited. They're jumping in together. At one point, it had 700,000 players online at the same time. So if there's 700,000 people making WebEx calls at the same time, that means there's a heck of a lot more than 700,000 WebEx users. There's millions. So this is a big deal. Everyone's excited. And somehow it's Sony, and they have explanations. It was set up this way. No one made the decision. It wasn't intended, da-da-da. But what happened was they made an announcement. And the way it appeared, what they're saying it's not, the way it appeared is that someone at Sony said, wow, look at all these people on Steam playing our game. What if we make it a requirement to play the game that they have to make a Sony PlayStation Store account, whether or not they own a PlayStation? Now, it would only take them 2 minutes. You just go to PlayStation.whatever. It's free. It takes 2 minutes. And then you have access to all this wonderful stuff, right? Why not? And it would give us so many more users, which is what we really want in our account. So they announced that, and the gamers went nuts. They said, I don't want to join. I don't want to join your service. I don't want to do it. I don't care if it's free. I don't want to take the 2 minutes. And then you know how the internet gets when people... hey, Stephen Kesto saying Zoom AI companion works amazing. See, I'm hearing more positive than negative. There are a few naysayers. One was in our chat recently, but okay. So back to the game. The internet starts digging into any bad story they've ever had about the PlayStation Store. It's been hacked. It's not a secure server. People lost their data. You're making me join. They're rioting. They're rioting online. And then it turns out that there's 117 countries on Steam that aren't on the PlayStation Network. So people who bought it on Steam now can't play it because they can't create a Steam account. So 177 countries of players can't play the game anymore. The people who can play have to create this account. Everyone's mad. They started just bombing with negative reviews. Just bombing with negative reviews to the point where it was affecting sales and demanding refunds. And finally, Sony had to come out and say, we're sorry. You don't have to create a PlayStation account. You could just play it on Steam. We take it back. We didn't mean to do it. But it was a week and a half of incredible negative press. I don't look at stocks, but it had to have affected stocks. It was big. And it was just because it seemed like a good idea for the company to push users into getting this service. And they thought it would be good for the users to get this service whether they wanted it or not. And they didn't think, or they didn't ask the customers, would you like to join this service? So you see what I'm talking about, analogies.
Like in our industry? Well, I was just thinking, David, I can't remember. There was one vendor where you couldn't join a video conferencing session as a guest without having an account. And I won't,
Exactly.
I'm 90% sure of who it was, but I don't want to say it just in case I'm wrong. But could you imagine if you were forced to open a Hotmail account or a Google account if you only wanted to join as a guest in a Teams session or a Google Meet session? I don't think we would swallow it. So I can understand why the gaming community are exactly the same. We had that with Meta as well. You used to have to open up a Facebook account to use your Quest 2, I think, or Quest 3, or anyway, your VR from Meta. Now you don't have to. People don't want to be forced to opening an account and then getting all of a sudden all of their data is used for nefarious purposes or otherwise. So I can understand why there's been some pushback by the gaming community. We wouldn't settle for it in the enterprise space.
No, I didn't like having to make an Instagram account to use Threads. I just wanted to use Threads. Customers like to choose what they can get. Remember when they came out with a new version of the iPhone and it had a free YouTube album on it? And for every one person that was like, oh, cool, free YouTube. I like YouTube. There were 9 people who were like, "How dare you put this on my phone?" One of the most popular bands of all time. People don't want it if they don't want it, and I'm, I don't have any specific examples when it comes to AI, but I think about all the different ways that AI is being added to our platforms. I'm happy with it, but I know there's some people who aren't happy with it. Maybe we need to be very, very careful about saying you're going to have, this kind of AI in your service, as opposed to you're going to have the option to have these AIs.
Yeah, I'm also surprised how many people don't read terms and conditions as well. In the UK, there was someone for the last 4 months in the bottom of terms and conditions of someone that was selling something. They said, claim, phone this number or email us here and you'll receive a free bottle of wine. And there's only one person in the last 4 months that diligently read through the terms and conditions and saw that there was a free bottle of wine if they'd actually looked further. We just accept things and we don't pay attention to things. So maybe this will signify that we need to pay close attention to how, do we need to open an account? Do we need to, what are we giving away when we get when we bring AI on board? What am I actually having to do here when I click on these terms and conditions? And that fits both for the enterprise space as well as the consumer space.
No, yeah. Come on. Even us, and this is our job, when we install Microsoft Teams and it gives us the terms and conditions, we look at it, we scroll through it, and we say, someone else, there's a million people download, someone else must have read through this. It has to be okay because so many people saw it, someone else must have read through this. I don't read through it line by line every single time. This is no
Apple
way.
iPhone terms and conditions. Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way. All right. Well, it's Friday, and you started off by saying, well, how nice is it outside? So maybe this is a good way to end it. Thanks. Thanks so much to, I need a button for my closing scene. Oh, I have one. There we go. Thanks for Steve and Dave and Theo for participating in the chat. Appreciate you. And we will be back in 2 weeks. Take care.